Hello and welcome to episode 46 of the SquareXO Podcast. This week we are joined by Rebecca.
Hello guys.
Nicole.
Hello.
And me, Dan. Sadly Joe can't be with us today, so it's just us three. Get this stuff out of the way quickly first. As usual, you can follow us on Twitter. We're on Twitch, we're on Patreon, YouTube, and we've got a website which is squarexo.co.uk. For those other bits, if you just search SquareXO, I'm pretty sure we come up. So, yeah, give us a follow, tweet us some messages or whatever you want to do. Let us know what you think of the show. We apologise. Again, I always seem to apologise when I host for the lack of podcasts or shows recently. For those that follow me on Twitter, I've had some things going on, but it's also been Christmas, New Year, people are busy, so... Yeah, really sorry we've not been about, but we're back and hopefully we're going to get back into the groove of doing this weekly again. And yeah, looking forward to a good year of games. So this week, with it being the first of the year, we're going to cover off what we're looking forward to in the world of PlayStation and possibly beyond. I'm not sure what everyone else has got. So not expecting new consoles, I don't think, this year, so it's probably all going to be about games. So we will crack on with that in a moment. I think, first of all, as Rebecca reminded me before we started recording, we should just mention the SquareXO screenshot competition. So it's January, so we're now doing hashtag SQXO January. If you've got any PS4 share images that you want to submit, just add that hashtag to a tweet and we'll pick our favourites to go into a vote. I think that's all I need to say to start with. Anyone else want to add anything? Say hellos, Happy New Year's, all that kind of stuff? No?
Yeah, just
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
it's a bit late in the year, I think, halfway through January.
Yeah,
but,
we'll get there eventually.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, so it's 2018 already. Unbelievable. I can't believe that we're the 18th year into the 21st century. It makes me feel very old. So yeah, with that we were going to talk about what our top, I don't know if they're in any specific order or just 5 things we're looking forward to each this year. So Nicole, do you want to start us off with one of your anticipated titles or things of 2018?
Okay, I'll use the most fitting one first, seeing as it's out this weekend, but I'm very much looking forward to the new Digimon story game that's coming out, Hacker's Memory. It's coming out it's the 19th. I don't know when that is. When's the 19th? It'll be the
16th today, so it'll be Friday, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm really excited for it. I really like the last one. It's kind of, for Digimon fans, it's really kind of nostalgic and stuff. And overall, it's just a really kind of great JRPG. The story's fantastic. I just really love it. I love kind of turn-based kind of combat games, and it just does a lot of justice to me. I love it. It's great.
Yeah. So how different is this going to be from the what was the previous one? Cyber Sleuth, from memory?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a follow-on, or is it just a brand new? You're not sure?
From what I've kind of gathered, it's kind of filling in gaps of the story, because I don't think it's the same character lead, but obviously that coincides with how the other one ended. So I think this is just kind of filling in gaps of the story and fluffing everything out a bit from what I've gathered. I mean, I could be wrong, but...
Quite surprised how much legs the Digimon series has had, because remember back in probably the late 90s when the Pokemon cartoons started coming out, and then Digimon was almost touted as the poor man's Pokemon. I'm surprised it's still going with how popular Pokemon has been.
Yeah, I think it's one of those franchises, I think, that thrives purely off nostalgia. Like, for me, it takes me back to when I used to have, like, my Digimon cards, and I used to play with my little Digivices. Like, it really takes me back, and I just love it. Like, you could throw any kind of Digimon game at me, any kind of genre, and it would appeal to me just for that nostalgic thing. I think that's how it kind of, keeps afloat above all the other kind of, like, Pokemon and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's nice, though.
It is nice.
And that's PS4? Is it PS4 and Xbox? What are you?
I think it's just PS4.
Cool.
Ooh.
Okay, nice. Okay, well, that's a good one to look forward to. That's Namco as well, isn't it? So
yeah,
it's good that they're releasing something that people want to buy. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Always.
So that's out this week. So that's quite a quick turnaround. It's quite nice that you haven't got very long to wait for your one of
Super
your most
excited.
anticipated games. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've cleared your backlog in preparation for it. Cough, cough.
Don't make
That's
me
a
laugh.
no.
It grew by like 50 games over Christmas. So
Yeah.
I've got a backlog for life now.
Oh, God, yeah. I've seen a picture doing the rounds on Twitter. I can't remember who it is. Someone I follow, at least, anyway, with their backlog, and the pile looks about 5 foot tall. So I'm
Jesus.
glad I'm not in their shoes. That's crazy.
Yeah, maybe I've been posting pictures subconsciously or something, because that sounds about how mine looks, to be honest.
Can I just say, Nicole, I am so happy that Bloodborne is now part of your backlog. That makes me so happy.
Literally, the first thing I said, my sister was like, so what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, right, I really want to play Bloodborne, because if I hear Rebecca going on about it anymore without being able to play it...
Yeah, there's this crazy girl on the podcast and she never shuts up about it. So I've got to
please
play
buy me it. So she's not going to be like, buy it, buy it, buy it.
I'm really happy. I feel like a proud mother. Like, yes, Nicole. Yes, sweetie.
you can nurture me as I play. I don't know what to do. Help me.
Definitely will do that.
So, Rebecca, what about yours?
I'll sort of follow the same suit that Nicole was gone on and do for the one that hopefully is coming out first. Technically, it's not a full game, but I am really excited for the last DLC drop of Little Nightmares: Secrets of the Maw. We've had a few reports that we're getting it in January. We've had a few reports it's coming in February. But it's going to be exciting to finish a game that technically I've been playing since last July. I keep going back to it. After the last installment, The Hideaway, I was like, okay, I need to know more now. I have to find out what's going to happen. I need to know how it's all going to conclude and come together. Because each installment has sort of brought to light a new aspect and atmosphere of the Maw. So they've touched on different emotions. You know, there was fear, and then there was a little bit of heartache and a touching segment. So I'm excited to see what the third one, you know, will reveal, essentially. And just in general, I do love the story, but, you know, when you're itching to find out how it ends, it's been a long time since I mean, like I said, I started playing it in July, and I still feel like it's my one game that I'm just carrying on playing it. I'm like, please, please, please release the final segment so I can finish it, so I can enjoy it and find out what's going to happen. But
are you going to need
crossed.
to replay it to remember what's going on?
Do you know what? The main game I replayed really recently, so I probably won't touch that. But because the DLC sort of plays as it's a different character in the same world, I might replay that again. And they're only short, you know, an hour and a half to an hour possibly. I might just replay all of the Secrets of the Maw and do each section, because they lead so nicely into each other. It'll be nice to be reminded how my character got where he is at the end of the previous installment. I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember now. Because when I played The Hideaway, which was the second installment that came in November, and the first installment came in July, I was like, wait, what am I doing here? And I was like, oh yeah, the other one ended there, so now I'm here. So I'll probably replay them all, you know, in one go.
Yeah.
Just so I can get like a real feel of the story, and then it's sort of stitched together more cohesively. So fingers crossed that comes out soon. I've got my eyes on the Twitter page, like, announce it, please.
Yeah. Hurry up, hurry up.
sanity.
Yeah. That's cool, though. That's good. So far, no one's duplicated what they're looking forward to. So my first one, which is also out fairly soon, I think it's the 7th of February, is Shadow of the Colossus. So
I knew that was going to be on yours.
I know, and I know it's a remaster, so I feel a bit... Is it a bit wrong having a remaster as a most anticipated game when I could just play it on PS3 or PS2?
No, I don't think so. It's a different experience, isn't it? Playing it like on a different, like every time I've played a remastered game, for instance, Ratchet and Clank, I've played it remastered over multiple platforms, and each time it's like a different experience to me.
Yeah.
So I think that's completely justified.
Well, they've remade it, haven't they, from the ground up, and just got obviously PS4 Pro support, and it just
looks lovely.
Looks amazing from what I've seen.
So nice.
I kind of really hope that my love of it isn't too much because of rose-tinted glasses. I really hope the fact that they're rebuilding it, they will tighten up the controls a little bit and maybe just make it a bit more modern-day gamer-friendly.
Yeah.
Rather than just copy and paste, like make it look nice, but then copy and paste the technical bits underneath it. So,
well, you know, when you played it, you know, off the remaster, what was it like then? Was there any issues with the camera? Because I know Last Guardian really had bad issues with the camera control, and people saying, you know, this should have been well thought out before you published it. So I'm wondering if, you know, if there was anything like that, if they're making the remaster to clear out those issues, or did you have an okay time with it?
I never played it on PS3.
Oh, did you not?
I bought the collection and I only played Ico. and I can't remember why. Probably because just something else came out and I never got round to playing it again.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, controls can make or break a game, and with certain games you kind of put up with it. But back on PS2, I just think at that time we weren't so used to having perfect precision controls, so you could kind of forgive it a bit. But something we're going to talk about later with games we've been playing. I was playing, I don't know how you pronounce it, Memories of Old. That one. And the controls in that are awful.
They're crazy, aren't they?
Like trying to walk along a log is just impossible. And it didn't ruin the game as such, but it just annoyed me how it's an indie game, so I suppose that's why. But they couldn't release a game with good controls. So
like the remastered, redone kind of Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. There we go. Obviously back in there was the uproar about how difficult it was.
Yeah.
Because of the controls, but obviously back in the PS1 days, that was justified because no one expected more of it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I'd like to. Well, I'm really excited for Shadow of the Colossus because I haven't played it before.
Oh, you haven't? Oh my goodness.
No, so for me it's like
either.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it.
You guys are missing out a little bit on a classic, but it's just the thing is when it released, we won't go on about it too much longer. We've got a lot to talk about, but when it first released, it was one of those games that because it looked so good, everyone was so excited to play it because it looked so good. But then the actual underlying story and what you do is actually what you take away from it.
Yeah.
So
if
a lot of people that haven't played it will look at it and think, it looks amazing, I want to play it. But the best bit about it is the story.
It's like a moral tester, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So, I like that.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, so that's my first one. So, Nicole?
Okay, my next one is, again, it's not been confirmed a release date yet, but it's supposed to be out fall this year, and that's Metro Exodus.
Okay.
And should be available across all platforms, but I think it was my highlight of E3. And
which E3 was that announced at? Was it last year's?
Yeah.
Why does it feel like it was so long ago?
I know. I'm pretty sure it's one of the first podcasts I did with you guys. I was ranting on about how good Metro was.
Yeah, it was.
But basically,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just I love the whole the trailer for it was absolutely fantastic. It's one of those really kind of eerie, atmospheric games, and it's quite jumpy. I'm in the process of playing through Metro Redux, which has obviously the 2 previous Metro games in, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Like it's so good, and I'm really excited to see what obviously they can do with the series now. It's properly in the kind of newer consoles.
Yeah.
And it just it looks really, really good. It's all kind of post-apocalyptic kind of vibe. It just looks absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to play it. I'm so excited for it. I've
never played a Metro game. They've always come across to me as a PC game, so it's never really I always imagine it to be like lots of stat building, lots of I don't know. It's just never something that. I don't know. It's
all just weapons and stuff. It's going around and shooting all these like really kind of odd creatures. It's all based in darkness. Like you're going through like kind of like train lines underground and stuff. Like that's what it is in the one I'm playing anyway. Yeah, it's spooky as hell.
I suppose that's why it's called Metro, is it? Because it's set on the Metro.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So it's absolutely like I love it. It's really atmospheric. I mean, I'm not one for scary games, but it's not that outright scariness where it's all horror. It's atmosphere, and I love that.
Yeah.
It's where you play and you're so tense. I'm really excited for it.
Cool. When's that? Oh, you say you don't know when it's out. I know I've done some graphics for it for a retailer, so I think it is this year, isn't it? But maybe
supposedly fall. That's what it says.
Right.
Kind of across like the net, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, let's move on. Rebecca?
Keeping in check with the post-apocalyptic theme, my next one is the final series of Telltale's The Walking Dead, which is supposed to come out summer 2018, but I don't know.
Right.
I never listen to release dates, and it's just like summer. I'm like, that's probably going to come out in winter.
Yeah.
With it being the final series as well, there's like a little bit of excitement, and at the same time, it's like, no, don't make it. I don't want it to end. Yeah. But I just think the Telltale representation of The Walking Dead was pulled off so cleverly, and out of all the Telltale series, series that I played, it's been the one where I've always, been raring to go, and I've always wanted to replay it. All the other ones I've played, I've just sort of been like, oh, well, I'll play it because this sounds awful, but it's an easy platinum, and it's just, oh, yeah, it's set in a world I sort of know. I'll go for it. The Walking Dead, though, I just seem to really connected with the characters, and I love the idea that obviously Clementine, she's in every single season, and you basically nurture her, play as her, play alongside her, and then for the 4th season I'm really excited to see where it's going to go from there.
Yeah.
But I've always really liked that season, and I'm so excited when I finished season 3 and they were like, there's another one. I was like, yes.
I think what I've always loved about the series is that they're so fluent. They really they really kind of just merge into each other, and I love it because it just feels like you're playing one big game as opposed to separate kind of. Yeah. And it's like, obviously in some of the games your previous decisions have like carried over.
I think that's really clever. I was going to say that. Your choice is really... I like how you can play a playthrough and do one thing and still up at exactly the same point. But, you might have lost people along the way. You might have formed different friendships. People might hate you. I just love that, you can sort of play the story as a cohesive story, but, it's going to be completely different every single time you play. You might not have the same people. You might be in the same location. You might have lost people along the way. And I love the storytelling. I just think it's really good.
It's fantastic.
I just love how in every episode there's like one big moral dilemma where it's like, do you do this or do you do this? And there's a timer ticking down. You're like, oh my God, what I do here matters, and it's just so intense. But I cannot wait for that. I'm so excited.
So is this have they kind of said it's the last one they're going to
They've said it's the what did they say? Yeah, the 4th and final season of The Walking Dead.
Oh, so there could be some good moments in that.
It could,
if they're going to draw lines under things.
That's the thing, isn't it? When you hear that it's the final season, you expect stuff to go down. You're like, oh, it's going to be a good season then. Like stuff's going to happen. They've got to make it memorable.
I think it'll definitely be like the last one with Clementine and that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do like another spin-off like they did with like Michonne.
Yeah. I mean, it just made me wonder because it says it'll mark the return of the playable protagonist Clementine, who is on the search for Alvin Jr., and that's what it says. So there is possibility there, and we all know that the Walking Dead world has produced spin-offs, so there's possibility that they could span out into something new if they wanted to. That option is always there.
Yeah,
it's good.
Cool. So I'm looking forward to Concrete Genie, which I believe.
Oh yes, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, when it was announced, it just looks right up my street, my kind of game. So yeah, I was looking up what other things the develop. So it's a first-party game. It's Sony, but it's developed by Pixel Opus. And then the only other thing I can see that they've done is that Entwined, which was the game that they announced, I think it was at a PlayStation event, and they were like, well, we've got this game and it's out now, and it was like a flying thing.
Yeah.
So I just think Concrete Genie looked great. I don't really know much about it, do we? It's obviously a third-person adventure game where the character draws on walls and there's monsters, so yeah.
I love the unique concepts like that, though. That really pulls me in when I hear something that so far away from other things that have been done before. You're like, oh, that's going to be amazing. You just know it is.
Yeah. So I don't want to put too much hype on its shoulders. I don't want to get too overly excited that it's going to be, Game of the Year contender or anything like that, because then you end up disappointed with the games that try and do something different. They try and be a bit niche, a bit out there. I don't like going in with really high expectations. I like to just go in and enjoy it for what it is. So I'm quite excited by that. I don't think there's an actual date. Hopefully, it won't be in the mix of November with all the CODs and the FIFAs and all of that. And it gets
so that'll just get lost.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it would come out maybe in August or July for the summer holidays when there's not much else out. But we'll probably hear more at E3, I'd imagine.
Yep.
So yeah.
Be surprised.
So that's my next one. I'll do my next one because that was quite quick as well, and we'll reverse the order. So next up, I've put Shenmue 3.
Oh,
and then in brackets,
you're getting all the good ones.
All my left field games. In brackets, I've put a HD remaster again for 1 and 2, but I think hopefully they do that just for people because you guys have probably never played them.
Nope.
So the third one. The story is concurrent, so you need to have played the first 2 to understand what's going on in the third. So I'd imagine there's a high chance that we'll see an HD remaster.
Okay.
So Shenmue 3 is due to come out at the end of the year. So I wouldn't be surprised either if it's delayed. But I love the first game.
It's a shame.
Yeah, I think the first game took something ridiculous, like 12 years to make or something. It was like a massive undertaking.
So we're looking at a Last Guardian type of situation.
Kind of it was, yeah. I mean, back then, I think it was 98 it came out. It was groundbreaking. They
oh my God, I was a year old.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. See, I remember finishing my paper round and going up the video game shop with my money, waiting on a Thursday night for his delivery, because it was out on the Friday, but he said I could have it on Thursday. So I went up there late at night and waited for the delivery man to drop his games off for the next day.
That's so cool.
I remember it vividly because I got home and my mum was like, "Where have you been? You're not back on normal time." I was like, "I wanted to get a game."
Priorities.
Yeah, exactly. But it was amazing. It's such a good game, and it has a cult following. Again, with Concrete Genie, I don't think it's going to be a very good game, in that I think a lot of people will bash it for one reason or another. But I think I like it just because I've loved the story and the world up to this point. Yeah, that's my one. Who's next? Should we do Rebecca?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to step into bigger titles now, so hopefully we won't be getting too many clashes. My next anticipated game of 2018 is Far Cry 5, which I don't know. I think, Nicole, you didn't like it.
No, not...
Dan, what do you think?
No.
I've never played a Far Cry game.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I played Far Cry 4 about a year ago, and I just couldn't take to it. You know, I really enjoyed it, but I was like, this story's not doing anything for me. And in Far Cry 4, there's a lot of these weird episodes where you're either drugged or you're hallucinating. And I was like, this is just really strange. And I'm just, I don't know, there's other things I could be playing. And then obviously I went to EGX last year, and I feel kind of bad saying this now, but I went to the Far Cry 5 booth as a sort of duty for SquareXO, because I knew that we had to cover the big games. And I was like, well, I'll go to Far Cry 5. I actually really enjoyed it. I was like, this is great. And I remember the lady came up to me and she was like, your time's up. And I was like, no, don't do that. So that inspired me to get back into Far Cry 4, which I'll talk about more in what we've been playing. But I think just seeing the announcement and the trailer, and obviously having already played a little bit and enjoyed that bit I've already played, I'm sort of really looking forward to it. I've got a bit of a soft spot for first-person shooters, where I do like my story and my narrative-driven games, but then a good first-person shooter, I'm like, yeah, I'll play that. That's awesome.
It's a good break, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's very different, obviously, from playing something that is all about the story and, it tries to drown you with emotion and, narrative complexity. So playing a first-person shooter, I find, is always like a little bit of a break. So I just think, Far Cry, you go and you liberate outposts and you do a bit of hunting, and the story's there, but it's not necessarily the main attraction. So I'm really looking forward to it. And it's in modern times as well, like it's in America, which is going to be fun. I can't wait.
I just, I didn't like Far Cry 4. I mean, I played Far Cry 3. Yeah. I didn't finish it for a really silly reason, which I'm not going to go into, about sharks and being scared of them. But but basically, Far Cry 4 to me, it didn't bring anything new to the table. Like it didn't, for me, the only thing that appealed to me from the whole game was Troy Baker voicing Pagan Man, because I thought he was an absolutely phenomenal character in a very bad game.
Yeah.
And that just irritated me, and it really kind of put me off playing it, to be honest.
Yeah. So you're not getting Far Cry 5 then, I assume?
Not, like, it'll drop down in price at some point, and given I've got the spare money and a bit of time to play it, I might pick it up, but that aside, I'm not,
I think maybe the only reason I'm really excited for it is because it will be my second Far Cry game. So maybe I'm still in the point where it's like, oh, I'm excited to see where it goes. And I might be like you, be playing it and be like, oh, but this is exactly the same as Far Cry 4, but just in a different setting. But as it is for now, I'm like, every time I see a trailer for it, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll definitely, get that. And I'll play a bit of playing. I'll see what it's like. But I do like having, 1 or 2 to 3 big AA games where I'm like, I want to join in the hype and everyone else is playing it and I want to be part of the, the excitement. So Far Cry 5 is definitely one of my big games where I'm like, yes, I definitely want to have a go at that when it comes out.
Yeah. Cool.
My go?
Nicole? Yep.
Okay. Probably an expected one of me, being as I'm a sucker for co-op and multiplayer titles, but I'm really looking forward to Anthem.
Oh,
Yeah, I forgot about
Anthem.
that
I
one.
keep forgetting about all these games.
Yeah, it was kind of you're all a group of people kind of in exosuits exploring a kind of shared online world and exploring it and stuff.
It does look really cool.
Yeah, and you all kind of cater your exosuits to how you play. And obviously I play a lot of co-op games because I have people to play them with, and I really enjoy it, and it looks gorgeous, and I just want to see kind of the depth of the worlds around, and kind of it looks really, really fun. I'm really excited to see how it plays.
Yeah.
So
Because there's not been much on it yet, has there? I don't think. Not that I've seen, anyway.
Honestly, I think if any of the games I've mentioned is going to be postponed, it'll be that one, because it's
I can see that
quite
being
big.
postponed.
Yeah, and where it's a multiplayer game, I think it needs to be stable when it's released.
Is that an EA game as well?
Yeah, EA
Yeah.
is BioWare as well, I think.
Yeah.
But it's... I don't know, it needs to be stable. I think if it's not stable when it comes out, it's one of those games that will be just thrown aside. Like, people will be selling it and it'll be 15 quid within a week.
Yeah.
Because it needs to function properly to be a really good game. But yeah, I'm just really excited to see how it plays.
Get them investing in some beta testing and getting people to play it. And
I can imagine it will be like that, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it needs to function properly to kind of uphold itself in the market, I think, honestly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other games that are possibly doing the same as that is trying to achieve as well. So if it can't do something a little bit different or do it better, then it's not. What's the point of it, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to kind of go back in reverse order?
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
know Rebecca's going to mention my last one, so I think I can probably get my last one. I probably get my other one out of the way now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
go for
yeah.
it.
Obviously, this is purely speculation, but it's kind of reinforced speculation. Like, the kind of developers have mentioned things about it, and there's been quite a few leaks.
Right.
But there's talk this year of a new Tomb Raider title.
Oh, there
Oh
isn't
my
there? Shadow
God,
of the
of
Tomb Raider,
course.
isn't it?
Yeah, Shadow.
Nicole, you're like on it.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and obviously, like I said, it's highly speculation, but I'll be really excited to see how they take the series, like where they kind of steer it next. And I mean, I hope it's not as open world as Rise of the Tomb Raider, because I really think that ruined the whole story element of the game, which, Tomb Raider's always been really good for. It's been a really kind of well-driven story, especially this reboot series.
Yeah.
And I hope they kind of compact the open world bit so they're a bit more manageable and less of a focus, and really kind of push the story in it again.
Yeah.
Because I think it'd be really, really good. But I can't really say much more about it because they haven't said anything. So.
Yeah, I wonder if that would be like an E3 announcement and then possibly a release next year, but I don't.
Yeah.
They might turn around and announce it and release it in the same year. There's
Yeah.
quite a
When
quick
they do that.
turnaround with the last one on Xbox. It was Xbox exclusive, wasn't it? But I'm pretty sure that the wait wasn't that long.
It was a year, I think.
Was it?
I think it was a year. Yeah.
Shows
Trust
how
me, when
fast
you're
time
eagerly
goes.
waiting for a game.
She's like, it was exactly a year and 32 days.
Yeah.
It was a year, and they gave us a nice book edition to make up for the fact that we had to wait a year for it.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, but that was for the PlayStation version, wasn't it? What I mean is, when it was announced as an Xbox exclusive,
Oh, it came out on
how
the
long
Xbox.
did it take from announcement of game to releasing on Xbox?
I don't think it was massively long saying that.
But it was definitely
I
a year between Xbox and PlayStation. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was counting the days. I had a little chalk lines on my wall, tallying up. But
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I think I don't know. I hope they don't kind of do the whole exclusive thing this time. I think it's a series that's too well immersed in its in its kind of fans, like for it to be exclusive on consoles. It just annoys me when they do stuff like that. Like, don't do that to a sequel. Do that to a whole series, not a sequel. Don't say, here's the first game that everyone can universally play, but here's the sequel that you've been waiting for, and only Xbox.
But you can't play it.
Yeah, it's the worst thing. I think that's a really bad move, and I think it generally kind of really dumbed down the vibe for the whole game.
Arnie Talks have done it, sadly. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's sad. I think a lot of it was justified money. It was all making the game better through, having Xbox on their side, but it was just a bit, I don't know.
Yeah.
It upset me.
We all got upset, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my one, because I know Rebecca's going to say my other one, so I'm kind of trying to cut it short.
Fair enough.
Do we have 2 left? I'm confused.
Yeah, I got 2 left, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm looking at mine like, wait a second. How many more have we got left? Okay. Do you want me to go then? Or do you want to go?
Yeah, you go.
Okay, so I've got another big AA title. My next one is Detroit Become Human. It's one, once again, I played at EGX, but I think it was announced in 2016.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
It was one of the older ones. I remember seeing it, and obviously I liked Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. I liked the idea, once again, of you get to pick the way the game goes. When I played the demo at EGX, I massively did the wrong thing. I accidentally killed everybody, but it's just nice knowing that, once you own the game, you can be like, okay, I did that wrong this time, but how can I learn from that and then put that into the situation for the next, chapter of the next story.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a really good concept, like the robots obviously becoming self-aware and knowing that they can rise up against the people. It's just like that age-old thriller situation that we all love and we all know about.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun
story.
to play it out. Yeah,
It's a good
we all know what's going to
premise.
happen.
Yeah.
But it's great actually being able to play that out. And I just love, when I was at the EGX one, there was so many choices, and I did my demo really fast because I had other places to be. But people around me arrived like 10 minutes before me, and they were still there when I left 20 minutes later because they went and checked every room. And by checking rooms, you got your percentage of getting the good outcome, it would go up. And I think mine was only like 40% when I went to the final scene because I was like, I got to check this and then I'm going to go out there and talk to this guy. But I love games where it's like, here's a massive world, go and interact with it and come back and, do the story when you feel like you've gathered enough.
Yeah.
So you're not having your hand held. It's like, off you go, just do what you want.
Games like
Yeah, it's
that
nice.
always live or die as well by how many
do.
choices there are and how much scope there is to actually make it different. So
Yeah.
I've not played Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls, so I don't know whether I even play.
Heavy Rain,
Right.
I feel like encompasses it more than Beyond Two Souls. Beyond Two Souls is more sort of like you pick one thing or another thing, don't you?
Yeah.
Heavy Rain was like, do you want to go through with this trial? If you do, here's 20 pieces of equipment that can help you. You pick, the things you want. You leave out the things you don't want. And it was very like immersive, whereas Beyond Two Souls is sort of more like, do you want to go left or right in this corridor? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found Heavy Rain was more of a it was more of like a playing like an action movie.
There's a lot more consequence, I feel like, in Heavy Rain. Like when you just think, you're like, oh my god, I've just ruined everything.
But I found like Beyond Two Souls was more like a chick flick. It was all kind of romance,
Yeah.
and like you said, it was one thing or the other. It wasn't like really kind of in-depth options. It was kind of like would you like to kill said person or would you not like to? It's not how you kill them or what you do. It's like very, very straightforward. And I did like Heavy Rain better, I think. So
Have either
if
of you guys played Hidden Agenda yet?
Only the demo, not the whole thing.
All right.
I thought about getting it, but I think I'm at a point where I've got too many things to play.
Yeah.
I know it's only short, so it's a really bad excuse, but also I think I only have like 3 people who'd play with me, and everyone else, like my mum doesn't know how to work a phone, so it's just like I'll just have to play with myself and my boyfriend and maybe my sister if she comes over.
Yeah.
But I do like the concept of I just called it Heavy Rain, of Hidden Agenda.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I have got it, but the same kind of just not had time to sit down with people and do it. But I'd like to see how that works as well, because that's kind of a similar
That's
concept.
Until Dawn style, isn't
Until
it?
Dawn, yeah.
With the choices. I do like that. Like I said with the Telltale one earlier, I do like that kind of game that sort of puts you fully in the driver's seat and just says, okay, off you go. That's the end point. But the way you get there's 50 different routes, and just take whichever one you want. And, that's how the game will shape around you.
Yeah.
I do really like that.
I do agree with you though, Dan. I think the kind of depth of the choices and stuff is going to be it's kind of like make or break thing, because obviously I don't know if you read, obviously the second series of The Walking Dead didn't go down as well as like the first, because
But I loved that one so much more.
I loved it, but it felt like no matter what you did with the choices, the outcome was very similar.
Oh
They
yeah,
weren't very
I know what
in-depth
you're talking about.
Yeah, so it wasn't like that in depth, and I think if it just gives you the illusion that you're making a difference but doesn't actually do that, then I don't think it'll be as successful. I think it needs to be a very kind of in-depth kind of choice thing.
Yeah, from what I played, and obviously I met a few people from Twitter and they played it with me, and we all got completely different things, and I think there were 6 of us, so we literally all 6 of us got a completely different outcome, even if it was just like the same sort of ending, but the dialogue was different, or what happened after was different. So I'm really hoping that it's going to be really wide and just, okay, there's 50 different outcomes, like I said, and you can access all of them just by making one simple dialogue choice. Some games it feels like you make 3 or 4 different dialogue choices, but you still get the same outcome as someone who made 3 different ones because they were predominantly the same, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, let's hope. Right, my next one is a game that I only found out about recently, and I can't remember how, but it's Gardens in Between.
Yes, the Game Awards thing. Was that when it was announced?
Maybe. I can't remember. But
Paris Games Week, I want to say. I need to find it now.
Yeah, it looks, again, it's another indie game. It just looks good, and I like the premise of it. It's like time travel platforming, so I think it's 2 brothers, or there's 2 characters.
Yeah.
It looks like you're stuck on an island made out of things you'd find in a garden, and
I think it was Paris Games Week.
Yeah, it looks really good. It looks really nice.
I haven't even heard of it. So
yeah, there's an announcement video on YouTube if you just search for Gardens in Between.
It looks so.
I'll have a gander later.
It's really cool looking, and it looks like the concept is really different. Yeah. So I think I'll probably play it as well, but I've not really got my eye on it as well as you have, it sounds like.
Yeah, I like kind of games that play with the time mechanic and things. Again, it's a little bit different rather than just a standard platform or something. And it just looks nice. It looks solid. It looks different. I kind of want different experiences these days. I don't want to play the same games over and over again. I've just done like 100 hours of Persona 5, so I'm craving for lots of different things now rather than just trudging the same streets again or something. So I just thought that looked good and something that I'd probably like to play and pick up over and above the standard usual games that are released every year.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'll do my last one whilst I'm here as well then, which was, again, it's not going to be of any interest to anyone else on the podcast, but it's it's another remaster basically, but it's a Senran Kagura Burst renew. So the series, it's a bit like Dynasty Warriors, but with shinobis. It's the best way to explain it. I reviewed one of them last year from Marvelous Games, who are my favourite publisher.
Little shout.
Yeah, so they did a 3DS game a couple of years ago, which never saw. So all the other games have pretty much been on PlayStation, and then they released this side game on 3DS. So they're basically remastering the 3DS game for PS4 using all the assets and stuff from the PS4 games. So just looks good. It's just another game that you can just. I quite like them because it's just you against masses of enemies, and you just bash the buttons to kill the enemies and rack up combos. So, yeah. So they'd be my 5 things I'm looking forward to this year.
Whoever speaks now, I feel like is going to have a match.
Yeah,
if I know you, Nicole.
It's like Snap.
I'm gonna let you say. I'm gonna let you say it because I know it's one of yours, and you've probably been saving the best till last.
I can't think of what you're going to say, but there you go.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Days Gone?
Yeah, that's the one.
I knew you were going to say. Well, do you want to talk jointly about why we're interested in it then?
Well, I'll say a little bit because obviously, it's probably it's worth mentioning. Obviously, I'm compiling a more in-depth kind of consensus about why I'm excited for all these games, which should be up on squarexo.co.uk tomorrow.
Yep, everyone go check that out.
Yeah, so but I just like the fact it looks like a unique kind of zombie horde game. It doesn't look like it kind of has that comical
I know the comical, touch. Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah, the comical kind of, when you're playing like Dead Island or Dying Light.
Dying Light, yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a humorous kind of, and go around and just slice up zombies and stuff. It looks a bit more intense than that and serious. It
looks scary. The clip they released a few years ago where you're just walking around and then all those freakers just surround you from everywhere. You look really outnumbered, and I kind of, as much as that terrifies me, I'm like, I really need to play that. I want to play that game.
Yeah, I like the way you have to kind of use the environment and stuff. It's a lot more tactical. It's not just running through and slaughtering loads of zombies and watching all their bits fly everywhere. It's it looks a lot more kind of like you have to kind of calculate what you're doing and think a lot more. And I kind of like that element to it because you don't see that in zombie games very much. As of the moment.
My take on it as an outsider who doesn't know much is it just looks like a rubbish Last of Us.
I did think about the Last of Us when it was announced. I feel like Last of Us was a lot about forming a bond between Joel and Ellie, though, and obviously the zombies were there as well. Yeah. This looks more like if there is a story, it's going to be in the background, and the main thing is going to be scavenging the world for supplies, facing hostile groups. I mean, they did a clip, was it this year's E3, where they showed off like a zombie bear and they were like, you can use this zombie bear to kill those bad guys. And I was like, well, that's amazing. Like, I need to play that.
I see your general take in the sense that they haven't taken a very kind of traditional look of what, you'd consider a zombie to kind of appear like.
Yeah.
And it does kind of...
But doesn't that make it scarier?
It does. Like, I think with The Last of Us, like you said, the story's more forefront, and I think this big elaborate hierarchy of well, they're not technically zombies, are they? That they don't like to call them that. Yeah. I think with the Last of Us, the hierarchy is just it just makes the story more believable, and I think that again puts emphasis on the story. I don't think it's focused on the zombie kind of thing, whereas I think Days Gone is going to be focused on zombies
survival.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm a sort of person who, I mean, like literally today I wrote an opinion piece about why I love Dying Light. So I like zombie games. Let's just put it at that. Yeah. When I saw the announcement, I was like, okay, I need this. Even because I think from the initial trailer, the one where he's just going, I remember when they shut down the planes, and I remember when this stopped happening and they put the barbed wire up. I remember watching it and not quite knowing what it was, but having like the little glisten of hope. Like, I really hope this is a post-apocalyptic zombie type game. Yeah. And, they're quite common in the industry now. Zombie genre is kind of taken off in the same way that now the sailing and thieves genre is sort of taken off on its own. But I'm hoping that the zombies are sort of, the freakers and the survival. Like, it sort of pairs together a game like Far Cry, where it's all about scouting the world for supplies and taking down hostiles, and like Last of Us, where they incorporate some sort of meaningful story in it, and it sort of is a combination of both of them in a way, like an open world survival horror, but then with a touching story. I think that would make it a really effective and successful game if it sort of balanced out what everybody wants. Because obviously Last of Us was, you're in a narrative, you're going down this path, you're in this area, you're not exploring anywhere else. But I just think it looks amazing. And every time I see a trailer of it, I'm like, I need this. I don't know if it's coming out this year. Do you? We're not sure.
It says, again, I think it's going to be one of those games that they say this year, but it might be postponed.
I feel like possibly late this year. If not, I just want it so
Has it been postponed already?
I don't know. It never had a release date, I don't think.
Yeah, I can't remember. People moan a lot online, don't they, at Sony for not giving release dates. The problem is, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because if you give a release date and you miss it,
it's not ready.
People moan. So.
But I mean, a lot of the things we've seen in the last 2 years at the Sony conference have just been like, oh, this is coming out, we don't know when. And I can understand why people are getting frustrated, because you see these big games and you're like, when are they coming out though? But I agree. If I don't mind when they say summer of this year, but when they give you an exact date and they miss it, I do get it. It's a bit like, oh, for God's sake, that's really fun. Sorry, Nicole, what were you going to say?
Oh, honestly, I don't remember.
Is it gone now?
Sorry. My like goldfish, sorry. I was just gone.
I think that's a pretty good selection of games, though, that we're kind of bringing up and mentioning. It's quite a variety. We haven't all gone for the same old stuff.
Yeah, we did pretty good till the end.
Yeah.
Primarily because we all forgot about each other's games that were coming out. I just thought, oh, damn it, that could have been on my list.
Yeah, that was a good game.
So Joe's added in over text message, because obviously he's not here, Spider-Man, Detroit, God of War, Days Gone, and a VR game called Vacation Simulator, which I take it is like his job simulator, but a holiday one.
Holiday.
We haven't mentioned God of War. That's out quite soon, I think, isn't it?
We haven't mentioned Red Dead Redemption either.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's only because I'm really dubious about it. That's why.
I'm not sure. But
it's a big
game.
Big year for games, though, then, isn't it? I think, like I said at the start, maybe because there isn't thoughts of new consoles, then maybe games are the more important. I am interested to see if Sony or Microsoft do anything to counter the popularity of the Switch. Just because, wasn't that announced to have been the fastest selling console in America ever?
Yeah, I saw that.
So obviously it's because it's got games that people want to play, but I think a big thing is the kind of play anywhere aspect. So
it's the unique selling point, isn't it, of the console?
So I don't know if we will see either of the other two do anything to. It'd
be nice if they did something for the Vita. Like I hate the fact the Vita's just kind of left on the side now. Like I hate the fact it's been abandoned in a way. I don't like that because I think it could really kind of not match the Switch as such, but I think it could definitely, push that market a bit on Sony's side. Definitely.
Yeah. I've been using it recently to remote play Persona 5, so
I've been doing the same with Digimon.
But it's not sold as that really, is it? It's sold as a console with no games, so or no new games. But so okay, well, we'll move on now quickly to some user questions because we've had a few before we round up what we've played over the last couple of weeks, because time is getting on. So our first question will be from Ian Cook, who is at Shapethrower on Twitter, one of my first followers, I think, and my first people I followed, so it's nice to hear from him. He's like one of my favourites on Twitter, but I don't shout about it. He wants to know, so we spoke about what our top 5 games of last year were, and now we've spoken about what our top 5 games of this year might be. He wants to know what game in 2017 did we play that was the worst. We'll caveat the question a little bit because I suppose you don't pick a game that's rubbish to play, but you'd play a game that maybe was disappointing. So annoyingly, I didn't give us very long to think about this, so I'm not sure if we can answer off the tops of our heads or not. If anyone wants to jump straight in,
I've got one.
Okay.
Do you want to go, Rebecca? I'll go.
Go on, Rebecca.
Yeah. So I've kind of got 2 that are competing for the top spot, but one's a big title, so I'm not sure if that one disappointed me more because I expected more from it. But so I got Prey last year, actually, thanks to Dan, although it didn't go down too well. I did like the concept of it. I liked the idea, the idea sort of mirrored Alien Isolation, where you're locked in a spaceship and there's all these horrible, nasty things in there with you. But I really did struggle with the idea that I was so underleveled and I was expected to go through the game always being constantly underleveled. I mean, you'd go to a room and it'd say get a key card, and in that room there would be 6 or 7 phantoms that could take you out in one hit, and I was like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, this isn't it goes from being challenging to frustrating to just not enjoyable anymore. Like, to the point where I was like, I just can't play this game without getting mad or dying every 2 seconds. Everything I seemed to do just seemed to be wrong. And I followed the walkthroughs on, I read online. I was like, what am I supposed to do here? I went where the game told me to do. If the game said it's, advised you that you take out these enemies, I went to do it and I would get killed regardless. So I just ended up getting so mad and so frustrating. But the most annoying thing about that game is the ending is amazing. That's the most annoying thing. And hardly anyone, I think, will go to see it because the rest of the game is such a slog. That's what annoys me more than anything, is when I got to the conclusion, I was like, that's amazing. That's such a great ending. It's really powerful and really different to a lot of different endings I've seen for the same type of genre. But it irritated me that the rest of the game wasn't that good, if you know what I mean, or the rest of the game was paced wrong. So it really, really made me mad. I was kind of like preparing myself for a really bad ending, or one that I was like, oh yeah, that was predictable. And when it finally came to the conclusion, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, really? After all that, I was like, it's so annoying.
Well, you didn't endure all of that trauma, redundantly. Like, there was a purpose to it. The penultimate part of it was good. So
now, looking back now, I'm glad I went through the game. In my opinion, I did slog through the game, but I'm glad I got through it to see the ending. I just wish that I'd enjoyed the main body of the game as much as I had the conclusion, because for a 10 to 20 minute conclusion and a 25-hour long game, it's just not worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can YouTube the end. So if anyone got a little bit into it, just go and YouTube the ending.
Go and YouTube it, because it's really good. It's not as good as the game. That's mine, though.
Yeah, cool. Nicole?
Okay, right. Mine was ukulele.
Oh, I was going to say that.
Ukulele.
Yeah, because I don't know, like, in my head I have a very kind of I don't know whether it's just because I have a very kind of defined concept of what I believe a platformer to be, but it just, I kind of have in my head that it's, you know, simplistic, like a child could play it. You know, it's very kind of straightforward.
You think Mario, don't you?
Yeah, it's straightforward, it's nostalgic, you know, it's fun, it's vibrant, but I didn't get any of that from this game. In the first, 2 hours I played it, I had to tweet the developers to ask how to do something because there was such a lack of tutorials. I was like, they did, and it was really straightforward, but I was like, you could have had a little tutorial pop up, which is what I'd expect from a platformer.
Yeah.
And it was just in my head, like, I haven't even finished it yet because it was so hard. I haven't beat the first boss because I literally, you know, when you're a kid, you would get so frustrated with something, you just want to bite your controller or bite your console because it was just annoying.
Like, this is not fair.
Yeah.
I was just there like, if my controller didn't cost me 80 quid, I'd be biting it right now because it was just doing my head in so much. And for me, it harnessed nothing more than just nostalgia. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I was expecting to because it was one of the games I was looking forward to most from last year.
I wonder, because I was really looking forward to it because of the history of the developer and kind of, I suppose, the promise that it had, because it was from ex-Rare developers, so you kind of think of Banjo-Kazooie and...
Yeah, exactly.
I can't think of the other name, you know, but they've got such a heritage that with Yooka-Laylee it looked like it was going to be that yin and yang platformer where one guy had one power, the other had another, but it just felt loose. It wasn't a tight, well thought out experience. It just felt like, I don't know, rushed, I suppose, maybe. But I know it was probably built on a shoestring budget with a small team. I don't want to, you don't want to be too harsh. And I suppose it was enjoyable for the couple of hours I put in to some extent, but it could have been and should have been so much more.
Exactly.
I think.
Like, it's just as well, I think my frame of reference is something like Ratchet and Clank, and it didn't even match that in any way. Like, I think they had nostalgia and they had a lovely setting and two great characters, and they were putting, like I said previously, they've put something really good in a really bad game, and it's frustrating to watch. It's just so disappointing.
I bet though, if you were to put the budget of Ratchet and Clank next to the budget of Yooka-Laylee, it would be obvious why Yooka-Laylee is like what it's like, though. That's, I think, sometimes
I don't know,
come down
honestly. I think they could have stuck in like a couple of pop-up tutorials in that game, and I would have enjoyed it a million times more, as opposed to spending ages finding out how to aim like freely, only to find that you have to push in a toggle stick. But how am I supposed to know that? Like, I was just standing my controller, like, what is going on? Like, how do I do this?
There's a lot of anger here today, isn't there?
I might go back to it after we've spoken about it to try it again, maybe.
I need to soon, but I'm trying to keep a mellow kind of feel with games at the moment. I know to go on that and just
don't play Bloodborne yet, but
no.
Cool. Well, my answer matches yours then. Sorry, Nicole.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I think with this, on our profiles on the website, we need to update our thing for this year, don't we?
We do, yeah. Okay.
We'll do that at some point. I've mentioned it once it's in my head because it'll just otherwise. So
I'll make a note. Because wasn't that your most anticipated game of last year?
It was.
Do you know what?
It was, yeah.
Look at what we were anticipating.
Mine was Horizon, I think. Was it? I can't remember.
That was shows as well.
I think mine was Persona 5, which we'll talk about in a minute. But okay. Well, whilst we look at that quickly, the next question was from Tony Sibley, at Tone Sibley on Twitter, and he's just put, how did everyone meet? I think we answered it once before, but it was on a podcast that was never recorded, which is true. Yeah. We did go through it. So just really quickly, I suppose, me and Joe both worked for a retailer. I did design, he did news. When we both subsequently left, we decided we'd like to do a podcast about gaming, so we started. And then, I don't really know, I know you know dates, but I think me and Rebecca were just chatting online and we kind of mentioned whether you wanted to join in. And I think the same happened with Nicole as well. And I think just over time you started adding content to the website, and then as that become a bit more regular, you guys joined on the podcast too. So wasn't
I think that's right.
We didn't know each other beforehand, or we've not really we've never met.
I've never met Dan, Joe, Nicole or Rob ever.
Yeah, that's it. We've never met in person.
We could walk past you in the street and I wouldn't even know it was you.
I was going to say, we could all presume that our Twitter pictures aren't actually us and we're all some, weird people. But hopefully one day we can meet up, maybe at a convention or in London or something. It would be good.
Maybe, if we get enough patrons, we start, making a bit of bucks, we can get an office,
You never know. Yeah.
Nice studio to record.
Let's just remind people that we got Patreon. Yeah, patreon.com.
We got Patreon, guys, bigger and better things.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of how we met. So it was just through online, really, and I suppose circumstance and chance, and it's kind of gone well from then. So yeah. And then the last question from good old Joe Robinson, who's changed his Twitter handle, Ran2GoGamer. I don't know what that actually means, Joe, but anyway, I think because I was posting that I'd got a few platinum trophies recently, he's just asked what our most memorable game that we've platinumed is, and his is Uncharted Lost Legacy. So good choice there.
Good choice.
I wouldn't say what my most memorable is, but my kind of proudest one is Batman Arkham Asylum, just because it was really hard. So I felt like really good when I'd done it, basically. So, yeah. Anyone else want to add?
Are you ready for me to sound like a broken record?
Yeah, we don't need to ask you this question.
Does it begin with B?
Maybe. Yeah, that's mine anyway.
Probably a cracking time, Ratchet and Clank, just because it drove me absolutely bonkers. Like, literally, that's why I remember it for all the wrong reasons, but that's probably my most memorable one.
So I've got our profiles up from the website, as you probably have as well. So tip of the year, tip for game of the year last year, both Joe and Rebecca picked Horizon Zero Dawn. Nicole...
it was Zelda, wasn't it?
What, your worst game ever?
No, the game of the year was Zelda, wasn't it?
It was the overall game of the year, yeah, I think so.
What did Nicole pick?
Nicole went for Ukulele.
That's so funny.
Stupidly.
That is stupidly.
Big mistake.
Rob went for Mario Odyssey, which is fair, but it was a good game, and I went for Persona 5, so yeah, kind of
need to think carefully about this.
Yeah, we should update that. If Rob, if you're listening as well, which I know you do, send us your updates as well. I can text you, but I'll ask you out loud. And if anyone's changed the colour of their DualShocks, then let me know and I'll update.
Yeah, that's what I was literally about to say. I need to change mine.
Or your worst game ever. If Knack's no longer your worst game ever, Nick, because Knack is actually good, then you can change that. Right.
She's like, I don't know.
Maybe.
So Knack 2 is awesome. You should definitely play that if you haven't. Everybody.
Oh, okay.
So that's our usual questions. So we've been going on almost an hour, so let's just touch upon quickly what we've played over the past few weeks. So I'll start for a change. I've got quite a lot, but I'll just whiz through it just for timing. So I have platinumed 3 games in the last couple of weeks. So I've played One More Dungeon, which is like a randomly generated dungeon crawler on Vita, whereby if you die, you start again. It wasn't too hard. It was quite good. It was I can never pronounce the publisher, Ratalaka Games or something like that. They make a lot of Vita games that have it easy.
That sounds like a good name. So yeah, we'll run with that.
They did Square Boys vs Bullies, 36 Fragments of Midnight, Twin Robots. So if you like platinum hunting and you've got a Vita, their games are worth checking out because they are fun and then they're easy. So I probably think there's method in their madness of doing that. I played, as I mentioned earlier, Air. I can never remember the subtitle. Like I say, the controls for the actual platforming were very frustrating, but the game itself it looked nice.
I found it quite peaceful.
It was nice. There was no combat, so you could kind of just wander around and not worry that you were going to get killed by a monster or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good. I liked that. And then the other platinum I got was a game called Energy Invasion, which is basically a mixture of a twin stick shooter and I can't remember what you call it. The game where you have a line at the bottom of the screen that you move left and right and it breaks blocks with a ball. So basically the ball can shoot. So the ball can shoot the blocks and the ball breaks the blocks. So yeah.
That sounds fun. I used to play that on Sky TV.
Yeah, I remember when TV and Sky had games. Yeah, back in the day. I finished Persona 5. Took ages. The last 20 hours of the game, I'd probably say ruin it. The game is brilliant, and then it just gets dragged out a little bit too much at the end with boss fight after boss fight after boss fight with no real way to save unless you backtrack. So it's a bit, I don't know, badly designed, badly thought out. Up to that point, it's awesome, and the twist at the end's really good, but just the last 10 or 20 hours were a drag. And then I've moved on, sorry I've talked a lot, to Cat Quest, which is amazing.
I bought that.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to play it.
It's so good. It
looks so funny.
It's basically a mix between the original Legend of Zelda and one of the original Final Fantasy games. So it's
interesting.
It's not turn-based combat, it's real time. But you still level up your weapons and your skills, and then the whole map is available from the start. But as you get new skills, you can access different parts, and different dungeons have how difficult they are outside. So if you're only level 30 and you get to a dungeon that says level 90, you obviously don't go in yet because you just get slaughtered. So yeah, it's a really, really good game, actually. I'm really impressed.
I'm well excited to play now. You've hyped me even more. Now I want to go play that. What are you doing?
It's solid. It's just a solid, good, fun game. And it's a game that you can just spend an hour just killing bosses to up your level, killing bad guys to up your levels. You can just sit and grind for an hour. So get on that. That's awesome. I'd highly recommend it. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been playing. Anyone else want to jump in?
I've just been playing a lot of everything. I feel like in the last few.
Have you been going back to things you've played before, or are you playing anything new?
So obviously Far Cry 4 is what I went back to, but I got a new copy because my old copy I lost.
Right.
I've also got Far Cry Primal, but I'm not too sure about that one at the minute. I think I'm still at the point where I like first person shooters, and obviously Far Cry Primal, you don't have a very wide range of weapons. It's BC, so it's quite cool in that concept. But at the minute, I'm sort of like, Far Cry 4 is just what I've been playing constantly. I'm also really far into Okami now, which I'm actually further than I got on the PlayStation, on the Wii version. And I finished the Wii version like 5 minutes, like maybe 5 to 20 minutes from the end. So I'm so annoyed at myself.
What game was that?
Okami.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm so in love with that game. It's just incredible. Everything just looks amazing on the PlayStation, and the action's still really engaging, and obviously the music's incredible. The story's really good. Everything flows so nicely. But I didn't really get too many new games for Christmas. I'm trying to finish off my backlog before it gets to, I guess, what you'd call reviewing season, where all the big games come out that you have to review, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to play these now. But mostly for me, just been going back playing old things. I did have a few goes on Mario Odyssey on my boyfriend's Switch, but I'm not too sure about it at the minute. I think I'm still very used to the rigid sort of rules that Super Mario Galaxy followed, which was you go to the island, you fight a boss, you get a star, you go to the next planet, you fight a boss. And obviously Mario Odyssey is there's stars everywhere, and you can get them by just jumping in the air and grabbing them, or you have to do challenges. But I haven't played it myself, do you know what I mean?
As a technical game, it's brilliant. It's like the controls are great and they just work. But I know what you mean. It's very odd that you can just earn tons of things just by doing stuff. Yeah, like, so we did, I mean, the only little bit of his game that I played was we were on the moon planet, and you had to walk in a line, like in a circle, but there's obviously the outline of the circle disappeared, and you had to try and maintain the circle. And I quite enjoyed that, but at the same time I was thinking, like, that's a really weird way to get a reward, when in previous Mario games it's always been you fight a boss and you always feel really like triumphant after coming up against this massive boss, beating it, and then you're like, oh, that planet is saved, on to the next planet. But I haven't played it myself, so I can't really say too much because I'd need to sit down and play through the story myself. I've only just done 1 or 2 moons when I've got the chance, but that's about it. I literally am just going back and doing things in games I've not finished yet, just try and clear the backlog out a little bit.
Cool.
I know.
Well, obviously I've been putting, tons of hours into Arc, because standard.
I feel like all I see is tweets about you.
I know, that's what I feel like. It's like mute. No, I haven't. I'm just joking.
Don't say that. No, literally, I got my Xbox yearly review thing come through, and it's like you put 305 hours into Arc, and I was like,
wow.
Oh my god, I probably could have spent that time so much better
doing something else.
But
but
yeah, I've been playing that. I've been playing. Obviously, I finished the campaign of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Yeah. I won't go too much into it, obviously, because I've reviewed it, and I seemingly have a very unpopular opinion of it. But I like kind of stirring up these kind of chats.
Controversial.
Where I like discussing why people didn't like games as well, and I kind of think I've instigated that with this.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in my unpopular opinion, go read my review, which is on the site.
But it's still a valid opinion, isn't it? No matter.
Exactly. It's what I think, and honestly, it's just a Star Wars game. I've come away from it wanting more. So to me, that indicates it's a good game.
Yeah.
As well, you can't be a reviewer and just review every game amazingly because other people liked it. Like when I reviewed Prey and I gave it a 6 out of 10, people were like, "You're crazy, it's an amazing game," and I was like, "Well, for me, it wasn't." And you just have to accept that other people think different things.
I don't like eating parsnip, but then loads of people love it.
Parsnips are disgusting.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make you like. It's a massive sin. Oh, how dare you not like parsnip?
I know, I'm going to get loads of tweets now. How can you not eat parsnip, Dan? It's just horrible.
You're going to get boycotted.
No one likes parsnip. But yeah, sorry, Nicole.
That's all right. No, like I had someone comment saying that how much did EA pay you to write this, and I was just like,
You're like, I wish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
nice.
I wish I was getting. But it's easy to talk about something you like, and the fact is I could have gone on talking in that review for ages. I had to condense it because I felt like I was saying how much I enjoyed it too much. Yeah. So, and I mean, other than that, I got Sims 4 for Christmas.
Yay! I really like Sims 4.
over Christmas and my birthday, because obviously they sit next to each other, I just got a wad of games. So I got I got an absolute ton to add to the backlog, but Sims 4 was one of them. And all I can say is, after finally freeing myself of the evil clutches of Stardew Valley, where I lost so many hours, I'm now in another kind of time sink of game, and I can't, it's you play it and then you go through a couple of days on there, you look up and it's like, oh well, that's 2 hours gone. It's like I can't come off of it. It's really addictive. And I mean, I haven't played a Sims game since I was proper young on PC, so it's really, really enjoyable. I love it. It's really, really good. Like, go buy it if you don't have any value for your time. Just go buy it. It's really good. But yeah, that's all I've been playing, to be honest.
I might get it when I graduate uni, so there's nothing in my way.
Just sink all the time into it.
Yeah.
Well, you should definitely jump on Cat Quest though, Nick.
Oh, that's the other thing I was doing. I've been trying to. I'm on 85% for the platinum of Digimon Story, Cyber Sleuth.
Right.
And you must know, Dan, when you get to the end of a game and there's like the grindy trophies left, and you're thinking, I could have done this throughout the game and saved myself like so much time.
That's frustrating, isn't it, when you realise that?
Literally, I've got I'm on these 2 trophies at the moment where I basically have to keep digivolving my Digimon to the max level by getting them up to level 90, some of them, and then digivolve them back to the start and do it again to kind of max their ABI,
crazy,
which is the quality of the Digimon, and I have to essentially make them see 100 battles each to raise their friendship. It's absolutely insane, and I'm so determined because I'm at 85%, and it's the line is it's driving me nuts.
Yeah, it's more annoying if you're nearer to 100. I've finished a few games, I've been at 34%, I've been like, I'll just leave it there. But when I finish a game and I'm 78%, I'm like, well, I've got to finish it now.
Doing my head
now I've got to get the platinum.
But it's so good and it's so doable. It's just, I know I'm not going to have the time to do it before the 19th, and it upsets me, but it's really so good.
Oh, well, keep cracking, you never know.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. Well, we may as well wrap up. I forgot a couple of things though. So I wanted to give an honourable mention to a game on Switch that I think comes out this year, which is Travis Strikes Again, which is another sequel to No More Heroes, which I absolutely love. No More Heroes. It's one of my top 5 games of all time. So I'm really looking forward to that. The trailer that they did at PAX just looks brilliant. So I know we're a PlayStation podcast, but we talk about other things, and that's a game that I will be keeping my Switch for. I wanted to mention that. And then when we were all talking about zombies, I just wanted to ask a question, one answer. What's your favourite zombie film of all time?
Zombie film?
I like... can't remember what it's called now. What is it called? I'm gonna have to Google it. Wait a second.
Sorry,
I'm gonna have to Google one as well.
Because obviously, I really like the one with Brad Pitt.
Oh, World War Z.
World War Z. That was really, really
so good.
But one of the ones I really like, and it's obviously quite an old one.
Without argument, is 28 Days Later.
That's what it is. 28 Days Later. I was I knew it had a number in it, but what number is that?
Yeah. I love that film.
28 Days Later.
In the cinema
really
as
good.
well. It was very scary.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I watched it with 4 people, I think, in the room, and me and my friend were with our boyfriends, and we both ended up sitting on their laps this is horrifying. I don't like this. But no, 28 Days Later. I quite like 28 Weeks Later as well, but 28 Days is definitely
Yeah.
Really
Okay.
good.
Go on, Nicole.
Right, I've
Google
got
it.
mine, but yeah, I had to Google it because I've seen it. I've seen it quite recently, but it's. I'm not a big fan of zombie films. Like, I don't like scary films only because they really influence my dreams. I'm a very light sleeper,
Right.
and I have a lot of very kind of lucid dreams, and I hate it. So I don't watch scary films. But I watched this one with my mum, and it's not your standard zombie film where you actually see the zombies in that. It's more of a kind of psychological thriller, and it's called It Comes at Night.
Oh, that sounds scary, right?
It's really good. It's basically just like, you don't see the zombies in it, but you know that everyone's contaminated and they're turning into zombies and stuff, and they're being bit, like people are being bitten and growing infected. But it's more the kind of psychological thing about, it focuses on not trusting people and stuff. And it kind of has a really kind of subliminal message that the evil's not necessarily the zombies, but you become evil kind of thing. And it's the fear that kind of consumes you. And I love the kind of, it's a zombie film, obviously, but it doesn't focus on the zombies, and that's what I liked. So it's really, really good. If you get a chance to watch it, watch it.
There's another one like that on Netflix, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's set in a forest, and it's a man, it's a girl and her kid, I think, or a man and her kid, but it's just 3 people set in a forest, and there is an infected area, but it just focuses on them and no one else, and that was quite good because it was a different. It wasn't like
Different take.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been called Here Alone, but I might be wrong. I don't.
I think I've seen some. I think I know what you're on about, because I go on Netflix a lot, and I think I've seen it come up.
Me too.
Yeah, I think.
Especially now they put Friends on there.
I think it's called
So-
Here Alone. So that's another good one. But 28 days later. Anyway,
That's probably my tip.
we digress. We go on probably a bit
digress a
too
lot.
long. So we'll wrap it up. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Thank you guys, for being on the show. Don't forget, follow us on Twitter, Twitch. We're on Patreon, which is patreon.com/SquareXO. We've got a YouTube channel, but with no address yet, so search SquareXO on there. And our website, www.squarexo.co.uk. Speak to you all soon. We'll be back hopefully early next week with all 4 of us. Till then,
Thanks.
see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.